special guest today, Sherry Purpose. What's going on?
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
So, Ogechi, you can go ahead and start. This is Ogechi's friend in Kansas City, Missouri. Everybody's out of town right now, so I'm glad that we still have the Zoom thing going on, and hopefully everybody's staying safe and quarantine, because I hear the numbers are going back up, so I guess we're just going to keep being virtual.
Yes, definitely. More than just a friend, this has to be like the most like ultimate mentor that I had, being, and especially coming as like a little poetry girl. Like she was basically like everyone's mother, like down in Kansas City. It was poetry brothers and sisters and aunties. She's right there. And so that's why I felt
I love y'all.
Had a like Sherry Purpose Hall had a purpose on this show, especially for Rugo Radio, and so that's why I want her to say all her long list of not achievements, but at least of so I don't want to just say poet, ordained minister, activist, writer,
public speaker, movie producer,
teacher,
author,
workshop holder, award-winning poet, award-winning author. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm missing 1,000 other things.
Like, mother. Did you say mother yet?
That too, mother.
Yes.
Mother. You know, I'm human.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do that.
So, yes, ma'am. I wish I had the achievements in front of me, but I see I'm barely even like. At least I'm glad I had this put together in time.
Yeah. Hey, listen. It's been a difficult time for everybody. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah. I know I was reading over her achievements too. It's just I didn't even know where to start. It was just like friggin' amazing. I loved reading her bio and everything. So I guess the topics today that we were going to be talking about is the effects of whiteness on Black people in this era. I think that's a good topic. So I guess I'm going to let you guys talk, and I'm just going to listen. How about
that? Okay. So I'll start obviously with the first question to Miss Sherry Purpose Hall. As for what do you believe the word whiteness even means?
Whiteness means the absence of color. And when we ascribe to whiteness, white supremacy, people don't necessarily understand that they are sure, and that is why these people are fighting so hard, right?
Wow.
You have people fighting for a supremacy of a thing that doesn't exist, plagued so many people and has killed so many people over so many eons, but they're fighting for a thing that ain't even here. I've never seen a white person. Is the complete absence of color. However, when we ascribe to Blackness, which is not the opposite of whiteness necessarily, Blackness is the absorption of all color, right? You have culture, we have where we embrace one another. And in that embracing, then ask the question, well, why not say all lives matter? Well, wouldn't that be a synonym then? Embracing of all things in all color? Then if I'm saying Black matters, doesn't it? But all doesn't matter until Black matters. So, but yeah, I don't, to say then that I don't ascribe to whiteness, I don't ascribe to what's going on culturally, because whiteness is very real for everyone. And we play into the fallacy, and we're living in it. And that's the problem, real problem.
That is the problem. Preacher, do you want to take the second question, or do you like me to go on?
No, go ahead, honey.
So as for they're Black and white and Asian and Malaysian and everybody's out there. So how do you tell a person who obviously has an ethnic color?
Between whiteness and a person who has...
If we're all meant to be in this way colorblind, how do you then tell what whiteness is if it resides within us?
Here's the thing. I don't ascribe to colorblindness. I ascribe to actively looking at the differences in each person and accepting people for who they are. I see you. Like, I see you and I appreciate you as who you are. I heard a story and I forgot where I heard it from. I think it was Celia Besler Patton who told this story. Yeah, it wasn't Mama C. It was Celia Besler Patton who's told this story about an African tradition where when the men go out to war and they come back in, the women are yelling, I see you, I see you, I see you. It is a thing to go out here and toil and you're coming back in, and it is a thing to be seen and heard. The men hear you and the women are saying, I see you. That is a form of communication. So I don't, with the brothers and sisters who are protesting, and I've been out there with them, whether they're white, black, Asian, brown, yellow, red, I see you, I hear you, and I love that you are here for this and here for me. The problem comes in, because there is a problem, right? Mm-hmm. The problem comes in when folk haven't been taught. When folk have not been cultured. My issue is that, and I understand George Floyd being the catalyst for everything, but people not necessarily understanding why it is going up in that area. Like, oh my God, it's still going up here, it's going up there. And they're not understanding that each and every single area has its own list of hashtags. My area, Ryan Stokes, Donnie Sanders, Breonna Hill, Cameron Lamb, like, we got our own list of hashtags that we out here marching for in the spirit of the catalyst. And the thing is, a lot of the people that are out there, people are asking, why now? How about, haven't we always? Haven't we always? It may not have always been a gathering in the street, but haven't we always? And it feels like right now the nation is saying, I see you, but the nation still ain't hearing us. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I think Ogechi, she's frozen, so we'll just wait for her for a minute. I definitely agree with you on that, because it's like they keep giving us things that we didn't ask for. Like, we didn't ask for the guy to stop voicing Cleveland. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't ask for, there's a whole list of things that I didn't ask for. I didn't ask for people to start shaving their heads in the name of Black Lives Matter, because I didn't ask you to look like skinheads. I asked you to come as a full representation of yourself so I can see you as yourself and you can see me and appreciate me as myself, right? I didn't ask for, the muas to start dark painting their face to give illumination to Black skin, because I already have my own Black skin. And that's blackface. So I need you to know history before you go doing artsy things.
Right. Oh yeah, that was crazy.
I'm trying to think.
They did something else that we didn't ask for that was real. Oh, the Aunt Jemima thing. Sure, I don't think, or any of the more awful things,
right,
like the Levi's label and everything like that. However, that's still not what we asked for. It's like you're making that a big deal instead of what we asked for. That was justice for Breonna Taylor, which we still don't even have. And now we have Mr. McLean that we're trying to get justice for. And then now the police are macing the protesters and doing all kinds of crazy stuff to peaceful.
It hurt my heart, Elijah's story.
Oh my gosh. It hurt. That was so heartbreaking.
The thing is, I can't, and I will start crying. I can't even.
Me too. I was about to cry too.
Yeah.
I can't get past his first name because my son's name is Elijah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't get past his first name in the story because my son is kind of small built and kind of soft spoken sometimes. And easily scared sometimes. Like, he'll, and say, I'm sorry and go, kind of, and he's not, and my son's not an introvert or anything like that.
How old is your son?
He's 11.
Okay, my son is 10 and he's the same way. I feel like, just to even hear, how old was Elijah McClain again?
He was 23.
23, right. Just what you're explaining about your son and Elijah McClain and my son, and just for somebody to handle somebody like that is just disgusting.
And
like,
you
how
inject
disgusting.
him with ketamine.
How disgusting.
I don't understand.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
I'm
what is
so
going on? Like,
confused. Why did they inject him with that? At this point, the hate has gone through the roof. It's obvious that they have a real bad hate for people of color. And like you said, they keep doing things like changing the syrup bottle and changing logos, but you really aren't getting to the bottom of the problem. Like someone said, police reform, getting bad police officers off the street, retraining police officers, taking racism out of the police academy. Like, it's going to keep going. It is not going to stop because the white supremacy is so strong in this country, and they are a whole gang. They're in the prison system. They're in the streets. They're very heavy in the prison system. So when you take them to jail, they're going to live a great life without paying any rent and taxes with their Aryan brothers and be protected in the prison system. It's just the judges, it's really getting out of hand. And I don't know what else we can do. Honestly, at this point, I am heartbreaking, broken. I'm confused. I mean, how do you deal with people who just don't like you because of your skin color, and they're not going to change?
I'm tired. You know where this system came from. It came from slavery. It was created there, and all it did was shape, shift, and morph into different forms. It shaped into, pianism and convict leasing and sharecropping and all these different codes. It shaped, shift, morph. You can call it whatever you want to. And yes, there are people who do actually commit crimes. However, people commit crimes here, and you should be able to serve your penitence, because that's why it's called a penitentiary, right? You should be able to serve your penitence, come out, and get on with your life.
Right.
When people serve their time, their lives are taken away. They can't vote, they can't do this, they don't get entitlement. So when they come out, the only thing a lot of them have found to do is go back to whatever it is that they came from. And I'm not giving anyone excuses, but when we tell people to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and then recognize that they boots ain't got no soles on them, so all it just falls apart. You got feet on the ground. What are they supposed to do?
Right.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm seriously tired. And when we're talking about defunding the police, and let's put this all into mental health. Well, now hold on, because there's the same systemic oppression inside of mental health. I work in mental health. I provide non-clinical mental health services, such as peer support, mentoring, and different things of that nature, where peer support can work with a therapy team, or it can stand alone. I'm out here in the community. I know the history of the mental health system, and for anybody who knows, mental health system is a crucial component in the school to prison pipeline. So how can you justify defunding one thing and sending it over to another mental diagnosis for slaves running away? It's called drapetomania. That is an actual mental health diagnosis, drapetomania.
Wow.
So, and the thing is, even the things that the mental health system were built on, especially with regards even to white women that were used to be put against women of color. Because the thing is, what a lot of people also don't recognize with Napoleonic codes, you have white men who still own their wives, and this is why you have all the women's movements and suffrages and things of this nature. So wives were also property.
I remember that.
And this is why it is a sexist term to say that a woman is hysterical.
Yes.
Because there is hysteria. This is why it's a sexist term to call a woman frigid, because frigid comes from when a woman did not want to have sex with her husband. You understand? A lot of these things are steeped old mental health stuff, if you go to these old mental health museums and things like this, you see the torture devices that they used to use on women. And these torture devices were tested out on who other than Black women. So it ain't never just been men in this. It's been men, women, whoever. And we're back at this whole whiteness.
Yeah, well, I think that when it comes to the whole intersectionality about feminism with white and Black, there's definitely a problem there with, especially with the lesbians too, with lesbian culture too. But there are there were smart women. Some of the biggest abolitionists and the most famous abolitionists were white women. And the reason why there is a small group of white women, kind of like myself, that take those deep experiences that they have from being oppressed, and it helps them feel a certain type of empathy towards other women, whether they're of color or Asian or Africa or Spanish, wherever they may be from. You know what I mean? Because we are all in this together, and to see women like Tommy Loren, or is that how, I don't even know how to say that girl's name, or
Tommy
Candace.
Loren.
Tommy, yeah.
Oh yeah, what do we call them? We call them like pick me girls. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, do you have another question?
I was kind of just taken aback and just kind of sitting in with the whole.
I have a question for her. In your honest opinion, you're very, very intelligent. You're very well spoken woman, and I read your background too, Miss Sheree, and it was absolutely
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, congratulations on all your accolades. But I guess my biggest question, and I sat down with Councilman Antonio Brown a few days ago and asked him the same thing. Really, to me, the most confusing thing that it's just been on the tip of my mind since the beginning of 2020 is, how do we fix the dismantleship of white privilege? Like, how do we dismantle it forever? Is that ever going to happen? It seems like racism can't stop if white privilege doesn't stop. And white privilege is heavily tied to racism. They feel like they're more superior than us. We get overlooked in every industry across the board, from entertainment to education. And it's just like, how do we make change?
That is definitely a slow bubble. Like, it is something that people have to come outside of their comfortability to do. And the only way for that to happen is for Black folk and other people of color to come outside that comfortability, because white privilege does not exist in a vacuum. It does not exist by itself. White privilege does not exist in and of itself. We call this, some of our elitist brothers and sisters with, Negro civility, where, they're just, I don't understand what's going on out here, why they're doing all this, and they need to just pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I was able to do it. I graduated from hither, thither, and to. I made myself an XYZ, and if other Black people would, and that Black on Black crime and da-da-da-da, those are our people talking like that.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Those are our people. So white privilege does not exist in a vacuum. White privilege continues to be perpetuated by a culture that is steeped in classism.
Okay, so that's what that is about, is classism, because I see that. Mm-hmm. I don't ever comment because I don't want to speak out of place or anything. I know that's a big thing, so I want to make sure that I remain politically correct, but I see that all the time, and I just make sure that I see it, and then I make sure that I let somebody else handle it, because hopefully, somebody else, it's Facebook, somebody's going to argue all day on there about it. Right. Yeah, so what is the solution to getting everybody on board? Because it's like, we can't even get everybody on board on what we're supposed to be doing, You know
what? The change has to start in the heart. It has to start with compassion for other people. Unfortunately, especially Americans, they are more prone to believe something that is said by somebody they have never met, never seen, never shaken hands with, than the experiences of the neighbor that they knew, that they grew up with, So, I even had an experience with my own youth pastor who was my youth pastor from 14 to 19, that he was spewing garbage. And I'm giving him my own personal experience. Well, no, the Democrats are trying to ruin the world. And I'm like, I don't care whether it's Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, purple, green, blue, brown. I said, I'm under attack, bruh. No, you ain't hear me though. Yeah, but that's the problem in these places because, and if y'all will solve black on black crime, wait a minute, because in your neighborhood, let's break it down per neighborhood because 85% of the crimes in your neighborhood are committed by your people.
And it's a proximity thing.
That?
Yeah, and it's a proximity thing. That was my biggest thing and question that I had from my activist friends was, what do I say when they have two go-to things that they say? And they say, oh, black on black crime, Chicago. And then the other one is, well, Africans sold slaves to Africans. So it's like that. That doesn't excuse that.
Well, here are the answers to that.
Okay.
Number one, black on black crime, when we're talking about police brutality, you're deflecting. That's not the subject we're on. We're on police brutality. Stay on subject. Stay germane to the point.
Right.
When
Okay.
we're talking about black on black crime, we'll be talking about its fallacy and how there's no such thing as black on black crime. There are, in fact, called crimes of proximity.
Right.
So when we're talking on that subject, then we'll be on that subject. But right now, we're here.
Right.
Focus. That is your response. Focus. Right?
Okay.
Next thing, well, Africans sold slaves too. And people were sold, and that's what happened. And it was all wrong. And who started the selling and who started this? It was Americans or whoever we called ourselves at that time. So
British.
Whether Africans did it, why they did it, however it happened, yada, yada, yada. Guess who perpetuated it? Guess who kept the cotton triangle going this way, this way, this way between over and across the ocean? Guess who profited from it? Guess whose textiles were made from it? Guess who built this country on their own back because of it?
Yeah, well,
Americans. So that's that. So
yeah,
focus.
I was doing some other research too. It's hard to find, it's really sad because of colonization. It's hard to find the real story and the real history of Africa. Outside of, what I've known, what I do know is that the colonizers came in and introduced horrible ideas into their heads that never existed before.
Yeah.
The same thing that they did with the American Indians, like when I say horrible ideas, like tyranny, genocide,
religion,
like that.
like how they orchestrated religion. Like
Yeah.
that was a big thing in Africa. A lot of people, well, I guess most people know, but most people don't know that the African race, they never followed the Christian religion. That was not a thing in Africa. There was no God, no Jesus. There were several gods. There were several beliefs, several guidelines that they followed by to live their lives. And then the white man came over there and invented Christian religion, and that kind of ruined the relationship that the Black community had with
sort of, because you have to think you have Ethiopia. You know what I mean? So
well, no, not just that.
Yeah.
Let me give you that history.
Okay.
So,
okay. Go ahead.
Can I speak as an African?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We got a real African here, so let's go.
Okay, there she go.
I know.
Yeah. So with that, you're absolutely correct. The white man did come to Africa and plant Christianity and other Catholicism, other isms that had nothing to do with Africa and had nothing to do with that spirituality. Every tribe had their own spirituality. That's what made a tribe a tribe. Whether you were white, black, brown, whatever. If you were in the tribe, you're in the tribe. That's period. Because you understand internal language that absolutely no one else does. That's what makes it strong. That's why Ethiopia was Ethiopia, the conquering lion that did not allow them, because our tribe is too damn strong and it's too spread out, very well connected. And being very well connected in Africa is not, some weird some source out there. It's really just knowing people and having people that you trust in multiple areas of the entirety of the globe. And so, Bella Kuti, excuse me, when you guys speak of colonial mentality, colonial mentality is psychological warfare. Psychological warfare is spiritual warfare.
That's the word.
religion.
That's so exactly what, yeah. That's the word, psychological warfare. And Carisha, you have to realize that if you were to drive from from Ethiopia to South Africa, you would be driving for a month nonstop. So there's probably millions of different beliefs. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's another thing also within that history.
Okay.
We have to also recognize that Christianity, as the white people brought it over to Africa, was not the actual Christianity that was already there.
Right.
So there was Christianity that existed there. Christianity actually came from there because, you know, Jesus, he went from Bethlehem, went to Egypt, lived there until he was 12, came back. This whole thing was over in Africa. So there were Christians in Africa. They were just worshipers of the way. It wasn't called Christianity.
Exactly.
So you go through, you know, the Renaissance periods and all this type of stuff. This is where you get white Jesus, right? And the way that I broke it down to my children, innocently enough, as artists, when we paint people, we paint them in the image of ourselves. I know it says that we are created in God's image, but when we paint people, we paint them in the image of ourselves. This is how we get white Jesus. This is how, the Renaissance period, this is actually art, because the white people at that time, they deemed what art was, even though we had art all over the place. And there are historical paintings of Jesus, of God, of Mary, of this, of that, way before white Jesus.
Yes.
Historical, way before. So this bastardization of the religion that was brought over to Africans, that is what was given to them.
Right.
So basically, they actually took away parts of the culture that was already embedded in that soil with their bastardization of it.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
what happened.
bastardized so much. Have you guys seen the really, really amazing documentary that they did on Rhodesia in Zimbabwe?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, it's friggin' sickening what those people did. They were like convinced that some white people came and built all those monuments, that black people could not have done it. Yeah. And they
Very noted.
trashed a lot of the archaeological evidence in a lot of those areas. Yeah, they like destroyed it on purpose.
Well, the Egyptian statues that we have here that are in the Nelson Atkins, if you go look up the Nelson Atkins, every nose has been chopped off. Every nose. And they're still up in there.
Yeah, they went
Every
through.
nose.
Supposedly Napoleon did that. Didn't they say Napoleon did that?
I have to remember. I done studied more and forgot more.
I know. Same thing with me. Well, we just have a few minutes left. So does anybody have, I know I have a question for you.
Okay.
What book are you reading right now or recently, or what's your 2020 book?
I don't have a 2020 book. I have the books. I have.
She said, "I have a book. I have a book at next one."
Okay. Okay. Oh, you have like a lot of books. Okay. I guess we'll tell everybody where they can follow you at on social media and everything. Okay. One more question. Okay, go ahead.
As being Miss Sherry Purpose Home, what is your message? Hey, what is your message to the youth and adolescents of this era as we grow older?
Good question.
Quit resisting and start collaborating. We didn't resist it enough. Throughout the eons, we always say resist, resist, resist. And this is why you see this with movements. At a certain point, you don't have to collaborate with one another and make something better. And that's where the heart change happens. And I ain't saying work with and under your oppressors. I'm saying work towards something and make people put their feet in the dirt and work towards that
thing.
I like that.
Thank you.
Amen.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're an amazing lady. I really appreciate you guys for coming on here and having these kind of conversations, because it's going to take conversations like this in different audiences and different perspectives for people to really like understand, overstand, or like begin to understand any of that. So thank you for coming to Rugo Radio. Sherry Purpose Hall. Tell everybody where to follow you on social media.
At Purpose Spoken on Insta, Twitter, Facebook. I'm also at Spoken Purpose, and my website is spokenpurpose.com.